welcome to the iRacing Skip Barber series. This is Season 5, Round 10 from Mount Panorama on BSR TV. As usual, Chris Cohen in the booth, joined this evening by Matt Dalton. Delighted to welcome you again, Matt.
Evening, Chris. Evening, everybody. Welcome to the mountain.
Again.
I love this place.
Absolutely terrifying place if you're a driver, but luckily we're well away from the track in a safe position this evening. No problems for us. It's not the same for everybody out there on the track, especially considering there's 48 of them this evening.
There's how many?
There's 48 of them this evening, so that should be interesting.
I believe the operative expression is...
And this series has really just got from strength to strength, hasn't it? Skip Barber, one of the entry-level open wheelers on the iRacing service. It's not a free content, you have to buy the car, but for the princely sum of $12 it gets you into a lot of great races just like this, and I think that's what a lot of people have thought. Why not check it out, why not give it a go? And it's a lot of fun and quite rewarding to drive.
I think it's probably still one of the best cars on the surface, and it's certainly one of the most popular, if not the most popular, I think.
And a good lineup of tracks on the service. The official series actually follows the same lineup as we have on this particular series, so 12 rounds over 12 weeks. This is the 10th round. Speaking about scores just for the moment, before we go down to the track to check out the 20-minute qualifying session, Mark Mercer now has a 35-point advantage over his nearest rival Blake Townend in second position. 45 points, that's a win and a half. So it is possible that Mark Mercer could seal the deal at tonight's event. He could end up taking the championship. It won't be too difficult for him to put it out of Blake's grasp, will it?
No, it won't. And Blake is going to be determined to try and stop that from happening. But I think, given how close this series is and the form Mark Mercer's in at the minute, that's a big ask.
Now, I believe there are some drop scores this time round as well, so that could change things. Blake's got 7 starts in second position. Mercer has 9 starts, so that's all of them so far, and both drivers are out there on the track to add to that total, but it makes it more difficult to calculate. Let's put it that way. We've got Savidovic in 3rd place, Hamilton and Streetley currently sharing 4th place, and Tom Ward in 6th place, but crucially Tom Ward seems to be pretty quick at Mount Panorama, and this is one of those tracks where you can put in all the practice you want, it just doesn't click for some drivers.
Yeah, it's a hugely difficult circuit. I mean, I'm just attempting to do a kind of commentary from a different angle here. I'm attempting to follow Ashley Sutton as we head up the mountain towards Forest Elbow, and it's a really difficult place to get the lap.
Well, it's a track of two halves, if that's not too cliche, I suppose. You've got the long, straight section, and then leading up the mountain and down the other side, which is a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole mountain section is effectively concrete wall lined. I mean, it's challenging camber changes, there's dips and curves and a ton of different things you can easily get wrong, and as well as that, then you've got the drop where you head down through and do what I'm doing there and crashing over Skyline and then down through the Dipper and into Forest Elbow, and that whole section in these cars is so tricky to get right.
So we should point out at this stage that Matt does not have an entry in the race. When he's talking about driving, he's talking about driving the Ghost car, which is a feature of the spectator mode on the circuit, which gives him a chance to drive hopefully without interfering with anyone else's qualifying session, but still just as tough in the Ghost car.
Well, yeah, to be honest, I'm just cruising around because it gives me some different angles from which to view the racing, so I'm just sort of trying to position the car and get a real view of how these guys are attacking the corners.
Well, let's go on board now with Mark Mercer, and hopefully we'll get a lap in around this famous Australian circuit with about 15 minutes of the qualifying session left. He goes over the line there. His last lap there is a 2:31.7. I doubt we're going to see any 220s here, that would be almost impossible, but turn 1, fairly easy left-hander which leads down this huge great straight and plenty of chance to draft as we head down here on board with the PH Racing machine that Mark's driving, and that Club 100 logo that you can see on the front is an honorary membership. He's not part of the team, but likes them all the same. Into this uphill right-hander here, and the car's going to want to kick out to the left, but those pedigree barriers are a big problem, and we're just entering the mountain section now for the first time on this lap. It's you've got to get this turn done, the left-hander, very quickly, because it immediately follows after the braking section with this extra left-hander, and then we've got two right-handers here, but will he lift here?
Yeah, these two corners are both flat, so Mark will be dropping up. Yeah, they'll be both flat. This one probably for the fast guys is still flat. I mean, just a tiny little lift, and then this corner I find is really tricky. So you can see him literally fighting that car the whole way through.
Well, he is flat through there as well, as far as I can tell, but it was touch and go, and then find the braking point around this corner, because you don't want to brake and turn. You want to miss that curb on the inside, which he's done, and then this really nasty left-right twisty section, another left-right coming up now, keeping the car as close to the wall as possible, and then hard on the brakes, because this is one of the trickiest corners on the circuit. Get this wrong and you lose a lot of momentum down this absolutely huge straight.
Yep, heading down to Conrad here, and he'll pick up as much of the draft from Savidovic, I think it is, there in front of him.
Well, it's looking like a good lap so far, and not many chances to qualify here, because the laps are so long, 2.5 minutes per lap, only 20 minutes in the session.
Yep. And one thing I will say from watching Mark Mercer's lap there, the commitment down the mountain from the top alien guys in this series is just phenomenal to watch. I mean, going over Skyline down towards the Dipper, I know from when I'm driving that I'm lifting way before you get to Skyline, and Mark Mercer was still flat as he headed down there. I was like, what?
Round the final corner after the Armorall Bridge there, over the line at 2:31.0, great lap there from Mark Mercer, and that's going to be one of the fastest times we see this evening, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just watching the way, just looking at the way he attached the apex on Hell Corner there. I mean, again, the commitment level from these top guys is just mind-blowing.
And it's a telling sign when one of the easiest corners on the track is called Hell Corner.
Yeah.
So,
such a fantastic track, though. I mean, it's one of those ones that everybody in sim racing wanted for such a long time. We were all screaming, do Bathurst, and various different games have finally attempted it. Forza's attempted it, Gran Turismo 6 has attempted it, and I can tell you from playing those two that you can drive around it and think, it's not so bad, it's quite cuddly. You come onto the laser scan version here, and this place will, for most novice drivers, this place eats you alive.
Well, we're just having a look now at Tom Ward, who hasn't got a good lap in yet. Still plenty of time. Mercer's on pole at the moment, provisionally. Job second, Savidovic third. Positions there are up on your screen. Plumley actually slips into 9th place. Great time from Plumley, but that's all likely to change. A couple of new guys seem to be lurking around in the session, or at least one. Vernon Nemitz, I haven't seen him around before, so welcome to the series. Hopefully get a good lap in from him. And we mentioned Ash Sutton as well, and he's decided to give this one a try. It's a real-life open-wheel racing driver in the MSA Formula Ford series. Decides to give his hand to iRacing, and I've just embarrassed him by showing him spinning off the track. So well done, Ash.
Just goes to show how difficult this place is. Blake Townend just gone pole with a 30.7, which is a blindingly quick lap. I've just been watching Sebastian Job coming down the mountain, and again, the commitment levels there are disturbing.
Well, Job still hasn't posted a time yet.
Oh, yeah, he's third.
Oh, of course
2:31.2.
Yep. I was going to say he hasn't posted a time, but that's a complete lie. Sorry about that. And it's proving to be a very tricky corner, that one, leading, should say, onto Conrad, as we see Steve Hefford spin out there as well. And some of these guys are going to struggle first time up the mountain on the first lap, especially with 48 as a map.
Yeah, I mean, this place is... It really does separate the skill levels more than I think any other track on iRacing. And I'm just watching Blake Townend there, who's just giving the wall a bit of a clip there, going through Griffins. And you know, these guys on a qualifying lap are just trying to wring every single bit out of the car, but in a race, I don't think you can do that. This is one of those tracks where in a race situation, to get the car to the finish, you have to drive it at 9/10. You can't go flat like you can on some others at all.
And George Streetley is back out on the track. The GR Legends racing driver missed the last round. Has missed one other as well, but he was exciting to watch at Brands Hatch. I don't know if you remember that particular round.
I can't remember what I was doing yesterday, to be honest with you, Chris.
Well, we saw him spin out, unfortunately, at Brands, but until then, it was a fantastic race, and if anyone's going to bring the fight to the top, guys, it's going to be either him or this chap here, Marcus Hamilton, for Friction Racing. Hamilton's had a bit of an inconsistent season, but a very quick driver nonetheless, and hoping to see him near the top as well. Currently running in 15th. Still, most of the drivers, I'd say about half of the drivers have posted times, but we're more than halfway through the session now, so you need to get at least one lap in, guys, before the end of the session, otherwise you're going to be starting at the back. As we see a big crash happening behind the camera there, not sure who that was. And just having a look at the top times now, Tim Adcock is not among them, but his Adcock teammate Stuart is. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just watching Steve Hefford trying to get a clean lap in, and he's just clipped the wall on the exit of Forest Elbow as well, down to Conrod, so that's another 2.5 minutes wasted for him.
It's the second time in a row, I believe.
This place is so difficult, though. I mean, it's so difficult to put into words for people sat watching on YouTube or sat watching at home. The camber changes and the elevation changes here are just phenomenal. I mean, it's that whole run down the hill in a car as light as this on road tyres is just, it's greasier than a Taiwanese lap dancing pole. It's just, it's so difficult to keep the car in a straight line.
On board with Ralph Thompson then, and I don't believe we've seen Ralph out on track before either, so here we go. Up the mountain. Now this is one of the sections that I've always personally found fairly straightforward. It's down the mountain I always have the trouble, and each driver's different, as Thompson just about keeps it out of those Fujitsu barriers, almost met an air conditioning doom there, and he will most likely be lifting around these corners, I have a feeling. Just goes absolutely hell for leather around there. You can hear those tyres really working, those road tyres as you point out. And no, keeps his foot in. I've done him a disservice, and this is where it really gets tricky, because we start going down the mountain now. That braking area, incredibly hard to find. It's almost blind on the entry. Lots of camber and elevation changes. You can see those on your screen, and like Matt says, you can't really appreciate that until you get behind a steering wheel and do that for yourself. It's one of the hardest places to drive on the iRacing service, and for good reason. And Ralph will be breathing a sigh of relief right now as he comes out onto the straight, and he can relax for a little bit.
Yep, it's you can try and catch your breath after that run down the mountain, and really the run down Conrod is all about making sure that you get the next bit right.
And a couple of people, well, it's more than a couple of people, but for everybody watching live on YouTube, your questions, comments, thoughts, etc. are very welcome in the YouTube comments area. Post what you're thinking, post who's going to win, post anything that we talk about that doesn't make sense to you, and we shall clarify for you at some point during the broadcast, and your comments always welcome after the fact if you're watching the recorded version. Let's bring those positions back up now.
Yeah, if you're watching on Dave, happy Christmas 2018.
I hope Dave doesn't sink to the level where they feel like they need to show us two on the TV, otherwise we're in real trouble, aren't we?
They've certainly shown worse.
Yeah, sure. So Savinovic goes on pole with a 2:30.6, just 47 thousandths ahead of Blake Townend's time. And I did not think we would see 2:30s out there on the track. It's really, really good, like you say. Rapstin actually goes in third, so pushes Mercer down to fourth.
Yeah, that's an impressive lap from Big Watch. Yeah, Blake, of course, will want to see as many people between himself and Mr. Mercer as he possibly can. He'll be, the more he gets up there, the better he is and the happier he'll be. I mean, I'm sure he's quite happy to see the likes of Ash Sutton join the series this late on, because it all helps him to take points off Mark.
Well, after a 5th place from Stefan Hoog last time out, in only his 2nd race in the series, he was on very good form, and he's not out there this evening, so maybe he's got other commitments. But he was going to be the cat amongst the pigeons, the Swiss cat amongst the pigeons, if you like, and Sutton's going to have to take over that particular mantle, although he's struggling at the moment, I believe. He is... can't find him in the list. 9th at the moment. So he's just ahead of Clark Williams, who we saw qualify very well at Lime Rock, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. He had a very good run at Lime Rock. Ralph has just had the commentator's curse put on him. He's just impaled himself on the wall at Skyline.
We took the cameras off him. That's no excuse. Come on, we didn't curse him on live on TV. Anyway, let's put it that way.
No,
So,
that's true.
4 minutes to go here, and some of the times you can see on your screen are quite varied. I mean, the guys at the top, the 10 that you're seeing on the screen really are alien times, but there's 2 seconds between the top time. Mark Mercer goes back into pole position. Fantastic time, and Clark Williams, and you can see some of the other guys. Dan Hunt, for example, 2:35 there is about 4 seconds off the pace, but like you say, it doesn't matter if you can put in the 2:30s if you can only do 6 of them, because it's not going to get you to the end of the race.
Yeah, it's the fuel's going to be a real difficulty because these guys here will, it uses so much more for an extra lap that they probably do have to over-egg it a little bit.
Scott Malcolm out there on the track in his lovely tartan-themed Skip Barber, as you can see, the number 74, just coming around to finish another lap. I'm not sure the timing system's working on his car because that's a 10-minute lap. I'm sure it doesn't take that long to get around Bathurst, no matter who you are. But,
I don't know, it'd probably take me that long.
Yeah, and me, to be fair. And Fahim Antoniades is struggling a little bit. Usually see him a little bit higher up the order. And Hamilton as well is down in 18th at the moment. So some drivers obviously not finding the pace that they want around here. Big wobble for Antoniades as he comes out the final corner onto the start-finish straight, and no improvement. So 2:30 left on the clock, and any drivers starting a lap now will not get that full qualifying lap in.
No, I don't think you'll have time to finish it, will you?
No, by the time you get round...
Just Blake Townend coming down the mountain there, my word, I think he's clipped the wall and knackered it, but...
Knackered it, is that the official term?
Talk about commitment, though. Yeah, I was giving it every...
And we got two cars on that one corner sideways there. Just goes to show how tricky that can be. And Blake will want to be as far up the grid as possible, given that Mercer's on pole. But that looks like a giant beating time, 30.4.
That's an incredible lap, isn't it?
Yeah, and then that we've actually got 3 drivers that have got in the 2:30s now. Rapstin is not too far off that. In fact, he is. So we've got 4 drivers in the 2:30s. And Job's not far off either. Tom Ward, I'm interested to see what he can do from 6 on the grid. That should be magic to watch that at the start.
Yeah, providing he doesn't drop it like he has in previous weeks.
Well, I'm sure there will be some incidents out there on the track. It's almost inevitable with this number of cars. It's a case of just taking it easy on the first lap for everybody that's not right at the front of the grid. But if there's anything this series has proved to us, except that generally people are very much faster than I am, it's that these guys at the front can, well, it's not hard, is it? But these guys at the front can race really close for a long time and provide a lot of entertainment without taking each other out.
Yeah, but I think here you can't race. I mean, you once you get into Griffin's Bend, where Blake Townend is just coming up to now, you're effectively single file for a whole section of the lap. I mean, you cannot overtake over the mountain, not really.
Yeah, that is a good point, but the drafting will make position changes considerably easier than it would do on other tracks. So Clark Williams just coming up the mountain for what will be the last time in this qualifying session. These drivers have one more attempt, and Mercer's packed it in already. He's confident that that is the fastest time of the session. We'll see. Savinovic is still out on track. He'll be looking to improve on that already fast 2:30.6. His teammate Rapstin is going to be a row behind him on the grid, and the 2 Wodgers are in with the best chance of getting a good points haul this season, I believe.
Yep, and they really need it. Interesting to see Little Wodge back up to 4th. Yeah, that's Good run from him. Sebastian Job in 5th. That's a surprise from him. Actually, as we said it was safe, Savinovic has just done a 2:30.3.
That is an unbelievable time, isn't it? Fantastic work there. So, about a tenth of a second faster than Mark Mercer there. Savinovic goes pole. And Rapstin is still looking like he's going to be on the row immediately behind him on the grid. And does he know you call him Little Wodge? What does he think of that?
I've no idea.
Well, he doesn't know.
I don't care.
We'll find out. So, just a few minutes then to round out the qualifying session for everybody that's still out there on the track. If you're already on a lap now, you will get to complete it, and then we will have about 30 minutes of racing for you on BSR TV. This is round 10 of the iRacing Skip Barber series, live from Bathurst, Mount Panorama. The number 7 machine just comes under the Armorall Bridge to round out the final corner. It's looking a bit sketchy. Not sure he's going to get it this time round. No, he's a lot slower this time round, so 2:31 will be where he stays. And Clark Williams seals that last grid position in the top 10, so row 5. Antoniades still out there on the track, still just coming down the mountain, but there is a limited number of time, isn't there? It's not, I believe it's 2 minutes after the session finishes you get to qualify?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, so hopefully Antoniades gets the chance to finish his lap, but we will find out in just a moment. So let's see a little bit further down the order. I mean, there's 10 places on your screen now, and there's 38 that we don't have. We don't have room for on the screen. We can't fill the entire screen up with qualifying positions, but Stuart Adcock, there you can see, is in 9th place. Tim only managed 29th on the grid. Steve Hefford, who we were watching spin out, unfortunately, on some of the corners, got a time in the end, 24th place. His Castrol teammate Dan Hunt just behind in 25th. Sutton down to 15th. That's interesting. And Antoniades over the line.
That's a surprise, yeah.
Does improve his time, and that puts him in 16th. So good on him. And that is
a few guys complaining they didn't get laps in, or they were struggling to get clean laps in. So I think the grid might be slightly jumbled a bit further down, but
we're about
very
to find
much
out.
Usual suspects at the top, isn't it?
It is. Mercer will not lead the field away this time. He's not going to like that very much. Savinovic is going to be in there with a very good shout in this race. Mercer-Savinovic has been a rivalry that's been a little bit contentious this season. I think it's fair to say. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep away from each other enough to get to the end of the race this time round, which would be nice. Cars just forming up on that grid now. You can see they're going all the way right back to the edge of your picture, going round the corner there, and there's a lot of cars to get off the line. No sign of the front runners yet, just making final preparations. This is going to be a very interesting race, especially because it's towards the end of the season as well, Matt. We're looking at these races really come down to, deciding who's going to win this championship this year.
Yeah, we're very much at the business end here. It's interesting, a lot of the top guys still haven't gridded yet.
Well, we just seen Savinovic emerge there. We have had grid problems before. We've had interesting issues, iRacing technical issues, where people haven't been able to make it on the grid. I think this case it's just people being slow to grid up. There is a time limit on it, so they don't have all day. Let's put it that way. Mercer emerges. So front row Savinovic, then Mercer. And we will see Rapstin appear behind Mercer in just a moment to take the 4th spot on the grid, I hope. But Ash Sutton starting 15th. He's always a hard charger. He's going to be keen to get these Skip Barber drivers in front of him out of his way. And a very difficult track, so it will be very tough. And we've not got 4 of the top 10 on the grid, Matt. 6 of the top 10 are missing.
Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to psych each other out or what.
Well, the lights are on. It's too late for them now. They're gone.
Well, that's... yeah.
Well, away goes Savinovic, and Mercer follows him, but where's everyone else? Did Townend even make it onto the grid?
It doesn't appear so.
Well, that's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre situation we've got here at Mount Panorama. Is we're just watching these cars come round a hill corner for the very first time, and a considerable number of those are missing. Well, I think some drivers deciding to start from the pits, perhaps. Is that the case? I've got no idea what's going on.
I can't understand that Blake would want to do that.
So Savinovic coming up the mountain for the very first time on the first of 11 laps here in a very unconventional round already. So everyone through cleanly so far, but this is where things normally start to go wrong. As then the track narrows, we've got barriers both sides, and let's just go on board with Dan Hunt and watch his progress up the mountain in the Team Castrol number 07. He has Jamie Bird just up in front of him, and everyone's single file now. This is the point where Matt was talking about before. You can't really get past people on the mountain if you have a shred of common sense. So these drivers will just tuck in now, try not to get too close to the car in front, just bide your time and wait for your moment to strike.
Yeah, and this is of course getting towards the danger section here now down the mountain. It only takes one guy to lose it or crash, and then it will literally block the track for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone through cleanly so far. We're just watching on board with Dan Hunt, because this, if anything goes wrong, this is where we're likely to get the best viewpoint from. It's not anticipating a crash from Dan, but anyone up in front will be perfectly visible to us there. Everyone seems to be okay. Sutton's lost it. Sutton's off. Oh no, he's rolling backwards down the track. He needs to get out of the way pretty quickly. There's cars queuing up there to get through, and everybody through, I think. But Sutton, has he made contact with someone? I can see someone else off in the background there. Let's go back and look at that one on the replay a little bit. All of those cars streaming through there. Just coming down the mountain, Sutton is alongside, I'm not sure who that was, the number 8. Number 8 got loose there, and that's caused Sutton to spin on the brakes. Really nothing he could do except jab them on. And that's not the best situation on the first lap. That was Antoniades who spun out in front of Sutton, so rare mistake from him.
Yep.
In the meantime,
you got Savinovic too wide going into the hell corner yet.
Absolutely, Rapston on the outside is going to have to. Savinovic has given up the position to Rapston. Where is Blake Townend? Because he didn't grid.
I don't know. Has he even got out?
Well, Simon Hulbert has not got out. We know that, but I believe he must be on the circuit
running
somewhere.
around right at the back.
So he's in the. He's in 43rd position. Something went very wrong at the start of that race. Very wrong indeed. But just look at the battle going on up front already. Hamilton there in 6th position, and Hulbert's teammate there, Povey. I'm not sure if you can give us an update from the drivers' chat as to what's going on there, Matt. If you got access to that, maybe someone has made a comment on it.
Can't hear anything on the drivers' chat there. I mean, there's Sebastian Joe wondering what was going on the start as well, so I think they're all as confused as we are, really.
And Joe running in 11th, so he must have gridded and made it away. Most of the drivers did. And, well, that's got huge implications for the championship. Blake Tanner running 2nd in the standings here and didn't make it onto the grid, so that could have put paid to his chances. Mark Mercer currently running in 3rd.
Certainly, isn't it? I think that's championship over, and I think Mark Mercer in 3rd place will know that as well.
So he's not going to be too worried about getting the win here. But the 2 Wodges.
Oh, Savinovic just clipped the wall coming through Forest Elbow as well. That could have caused some suspension damage.
Seems to be alright.
He may have got away with it, but he gave it a fair old tag.
Well, and this is only the 2nd lap out of 11 as well. Here comes Hamilton down the inside of Simon Povey. Almost touches. Is he going to have enough grunt to get down the outside? And he does. And a little bit of contact in the back. So Adcock and Williams. Clark Williams has gone around. And let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay. We weren't quite focused on them, but we did see that just in the background there. Engine.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened. Was it an engine going?
Yeah, he's blown his engine, and there wasn't contact from Tim Adcock at all. It's just blown his engine and spun it out on the inside. And just for the hell of it, iRacing's decided to make the car go white on the replay. So apologies for that. That was Clark Williams losing his engine. That's a shame for him as well. Running very well.
Yeah, good drive here from Tom Ward, sitting in 4th place. He's just following Mark Mercer, and the two of them are trying to sort of keep an eye on the Wodge off up front. So,
The Wodge off. So here we are on board with Tom Ward. In fact, Hamilton behind, Mercer up in front, and he's right on the gearbox of Mark Mercer's blue PH racing machine. Haven't seen Paul Grillo this evening either, though, Mark Mercer's teammate.
no, Paul though is. I know Paul is speaking to him. He's been concentrating on the official series all season, so he's trying to win a championship in that. So that's taken up the majority of his time.
And really, all the glory in this particular series you're watching right now is the driver championship. There's not too much emphasis on the team championship, so it's not like he's letting his teammate down by omitting this one.
No, and I think after his teammate's contribution last week, Mark Mercer probably sent him a message saying, "Got away with it, managed to win the race, but if you turn up this week, I'm going to kick you."
Well, in case you're wondering, we did see Paul Grillo go into the back of his teammate Mark Mercer down at Turn 1 Lime Rock Park, which was rather interesting to see, to say the least. But Mercer went on to win that one anyway.
He did, like I say, he got lucky, but he did get nerfed in the rear by Paul, didn't he?
It was a very action-packed round at Lime Rock, well worth your time if you want to go back and watch that one on the YouTube channel. The majority of everything we do here, well, in fact everything we do here on BSR TV is on there. We lost Keith Sharp. Keith Sharp is into the barriers there. Oh, he's still going.
You sure? Are you lined up now?
That shark skin car is looking a little bit worse for wear, but he's going. He's going. Let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay.
Savidovic down the inside of Little Wodge. Rapstin back to 2nd place there.
We just lost it. Sorry, we're still looking on the replay at Keith Sharp's little spin there, coming down the mountain, very easy to do. And kept it out of the barriers for the most part. And just got clipped there by Steve Hefford. I didn't see that originally, but yeah.
Oh, Mark Mercer nearly collected Rapstin at the front here as well. I think Mark's going back towards making a move for 2nd place into Hell Corner yet.
Mercer on the inside. Oh, the two of them almost touch. Little wiggle from Rapstin on the corner exit there. That gives Tom Ward the momentum maybe to make a move here. Doesn't want to make it 3 wide, surely. He's thinking about it though, you can tell. And those two cars are still very much side by side. I tell you what, Rapstin's done well to hold the outside line round there. So Ward's got to make a decision, and he's going to decide to back off. You can see that there, the gap increases. The two of them still side by side though up in front. Mark Mercer's gone wide. Mistake from Mercer perhaps, but it was a difficult line to follow.
Yeah, this just allows Savidovic to make a little break at the front though, doesn't it?
He's got a second gap now, and his teammate is in the commanding position in the three-way battle that we've got for 2nd place just behind, as we're on lap 4 out of 11. Mark Mercer's going to be kicking himself here, although is he side by side with Ward coming up? Tom Ward,
I think Ward's gone into the wall. I think he's hit the barriers.
Well, annoyingly, that's just off our cameras, just at the rise of that hill there, and I think you're right. Let's go back and have another look at that one from Tom Ward's point of view. As Ward just made that move down the inside of Mark Mercer as he went out wide and made the little mistake there, but Ward was one of the drivers I was most excited to watch going around this circuit, so well, that is
his
bizarre.
pedals are broken. That's the interesting thing. He's put a message up on the driver chat. His pedals are broken. That's why Tom Ward's out.
Oh, what a tragedy! Because it was very, very almost like he went straight on and forgot to steer there. But yeah, so well, I hope it's not expensive for Tom Ward anyway to get back in the next race. But great performance from him all the way through this race. Took 3rd place on his own merit as well, and you can see that gap on your screen now. And Povey is right on the back of Mark Mercer.
Yeah, because of course that incident with Tom Ward will have scattered the pack a little bit. And Simon Povey will smell a little bit of blood here. He'll want to have a go at it, but that's just separated this front group out. That little dice has let Savidovic escape through at the front, and the rest of the guys now have been scattered to the winds.
Savidovic has got a 2nd on Rapstin. Mercer's got a further 2nd down from Rapstin, and Povey is knocking at the door. He's going to be looking for a way round before we get to the uphill mountain section, but I think that's very unlikely considering his foe is leading the championship. The drivers then make their way onto lap 5 here at Bathurst. And this is turning out to be a cracking race already. Just hearing in the YouTube comments that Blake Townend didn't make it back to the computer in time to start the race. So that's why. But wonder what, that doesn't explain what everyone else was doing though. Which is interesting because...
Was that a bathroom break by any chance?
The YouTube comment surprisingly doesn't go into that much detail, but I think that's probably for the best.
Because I was told when I was little, if you shake it more than twice, that counts as playing with it.
Well, who told you that? The Tinkle Fairy?
Something like that, yeah. It's interesting, Rapstin has closed back up onto the back of Savidovic and is climbing all over him again, yeah? So that gap has evaporated pretty quick sharpish.
Oh, sorry, Alan Pearson, we're going to go back to the front for a moment there. Savidovic looks to be lacking a little bit of pace over the last few laps. Where has Rapstin found this pace from, though? It's not all down to the draft.
He'll have picked up a big chunk. I mean, you do get a massive draft down Conrod Straight and then back up the mountain, so... You know, you will get a bit there, but I think he's just... either Savidovic has made a mistake or he's just driving really, really well. He does seem to have some pace around here, doesn't he?
Oh, Savidovic just letting those tyres get a little bit out of shape as we came down there. Didn't lose too much time, though. Rapstin might well have him down the straight. Will he make the move? Here he comes, on the inside.
Yes. He's not going to think about it, is he? He's going to go for that.
Absolutely not. Goes into first place once again. Savidovic will not be too bothered. There's still a long way to go in this race. Plenty of time to get past back into the lead. Just looking at the front aero on Savidovic there. We were talking about him clipping the wall. It looks to be okay. It's fairly straight. I mean, it's not completely straight, but it's fairly straight. Straight enough.
Yeah, it's straight enough. I think for me or you, we wouldn't even notice it, but these guys may have a slight...
Yeah, well, you know, this isn't Formula 1. We're not doing the kind of speeds where the front aero is going to be, you take a small chip out of it and you're going to need to replace the whole nose cone. These guys will quite happily run around with some damaged front wings, but Savidovic does look okay.
That Captain Mercer's coming down as well, isn't it? And of course Mark is now dragging Simon Povey up, so this could be back to being a four-way battle again fairly shortly.
It's George Streetley, in fact, in the background we can see there. He's in 5th place ahead of Marcus Hamilton. And Stuart Adcock is still in this battle as well, really. Hamilton makes the move to the outside as Streetley defends. And they're just about to come up the mountain for the 6th time now. Hamilton is through, but has the outside line. It's going to be hard pushed to keep. And this is where we saw Mercer suffer before, as Stuart Adcock gets up the side of Hamilton there and takes the position. So he fell foul of the same trick that caught out Mark Mercer before. And that is, you lose a lot of time by going around the outside of turn 2. That's an interesting fact. Never actually been there too wide myself, so didn't really realise that myself.
It's not a place you want to go too wide by choice. It's a cracking battle at the front here. It has turned into a four-way battle now. Mercer and Povey have climbed onto the back of these two guys, so it's going to be all fun and games going down Comrade.
Well, we're on board looking out at the gearbox of Rapstin's Skip Barber machine. Just look at the amount of travel on the rear of that car as they come through this section here. You can hear those tyres squealing left, right as we go through this section. And you just don't want to over-rotate the car as you go from the right-handers into the left-handers and vice versa. No,
and through Forest Elbow you really need to be on the gas to steady the car and stop the thing from breaking away under you as well, so the tyres are squealing away like a Georgian piggy.
She's pretty. And you can see there on your screen, Streetley has a 5-second deficit from Simon Povey, who's in 4th. And Povey's hanging on here, really, in a four-way battle. But as we've seen, that might well be the best strategy for some of these Skip Barber races, as Savidovic ahead just goes into 1st. Mercer round the outside.
Rapstin's going for both of them in one go. That's optimistic.
Rapstin almost loses control. He's side by side with Povey now. Rapstin will hold this, probably. We don't know.
Yeah. He's going to have a wrestle with Povey here.
He's got to leave enough room with Povey going around the outside here. Povey's going to yield a position. Probably the sensible thing to do in a situation, but one tiny mistake from Wojtek Rapstin and that has put him down 2 positions there.
Yeah, I think they'll get that back going up towards Griffinshire though, and again, there's a cracking battle. Mercer will be sitting there thinking, well, I mean, Blake's out, of course, isn't he? So Mark Mercer knows now that he can probably afford to make a mistake here and get away with it.
Yeah, I don't imagine it matters too much to him, although, you know, it doesn't matter. Second place is never good enough for Mark Mercer. As we come up the hill for the 7th time, Mark Mercer is right on the tail of Wojtek Savidovic, and this is a fascinating battle. I would love to cut to the rest of the field and have a good look at some of the other drivers, but we just can't do it at the moment. This is too good to watch. Mercer and Savidovic at the front. There's some fireworks ready to go off there. Someone's lit the fuse.
Yeah, again though, I think Mercer will probably be looking at this, and he knows he's got a couple of drop weeks he can use, but he'll also know with Blake out, if he wins this, that's it. It's game over. So I suspect there's that added determination to finish it right now, isn't it?
Yeah, there will be. There definitely will be. I don't think... I mean, all the drivers will have to drop 1 week, so Blake could drop this week, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. We're not going to be able to confirm it, though. That's the thing. We're not going to be able to do the maths for you on the show and give you a definitive answer. Because if we got it wrong, that might be a little bit misleading. But it's
screw it, do it.
Well, okay, we can say
disappoint the internet masses.
We can say what we think at the end of the race. I'll leave it there. You can be as sure as you like, and I'm going to say I think so. How about that?
Yeah, deal. Savidovic made a little bit of a break again for it, hasn't he? He's trying to shake the draft here. This isn't...
Yeah, Mercer's following him, left, right. The draft has such a huge effect here, I guess it's worth doing. But Povey now side by side once again with Rapstin. Has Rapstin seen him? Ooh! I didn't know if Rapstin thought Povey might have stayed behind him there, and they very nearly came to blows once again. At the end of the Conrad straight there. The 78 machine of Simon Povey is the only one of the 2 SS Racing machines to start the race. And go back to the start there. I'm pretty sure we saw 6 blank spaces in the top 10 at the start of the race.
There certainly appeared to be a few people who didn't quite make the start for some reason.
And apparently it wasn't a bathroom Blake for Townend. It was something else, and it's unfortunate that he wasn't.
A bathroom Blake.
A bathroom Blake.
See what you did there.
So, bathroom Blake Townend. Unfortunately, no, it wasn't.
It's the quality commentary we bring you here on BSR TV.
Yeah, you can't get that anywhere else. So,
how was your trip to China?
My what?
A bathroom Blake.
I don't know about that.
Oh, Mercer trying to get around the outside of Griffins. That's brave as well.
And he's done this once before, and he lost a position out of it. So I'm surprised that he's gone for the same move again. But nonetheless,
oh, why not?
Yeah, well, exactly. Nothing to lose I suppose, for Mark Mercer. He'd still want to finish very well, but he'll know Townend is out of this one.
Fair play to Rapstin, mind. He's not giving up at all, is he? He's a bit like a terrier with a bone, and he's just not going to let it go, no matter what you try and do with him.
He is absolutely not. Right back on the tail of Savidovic. Savidovic does have an advantage in certain parts of this circuit, that much is clear. Able to pull through a little bit of a gap, but it's all gone by the time we get back to the top of the mountain. And Rapstin's surely not going to go for a move there, no. He's just having a look at how much room he does have. 8 laps down out of 11, 8.5 now. Rapstin is just behind his teammate Savidovic, and Mercer is still in this one. So is Povey, and that gap back to Hamilton now, who's got past Streetley once again, is still 5 seconds. So that's a definite. Well, that's too far back really, without any kind of accidents going on.
Yeah, and you know it's difficult to concentrate on every bit of the race. We know there's action going on all the way through the field here. This second group are having a proper little scrap, elbows out all over the place. So bit of a street fight between Marcus Hamilton and George Streetley here.
And it's just a back marker. That's the number 23 of Darren Morris. A little bit front wing damage. Not the best place to get overtaken, but the driver's still making their best of it, and he's kept out of the way well enough there.
Peter Cowan having a good run, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. In 9th position, the Club 100 driver, and that's the sponsorship you see on the front of Mark Mercer's car, even though he's not in the Club 100 team. The Club 100 have got a couple of teams out there. The Club 100 racing team, their main team, if you like, is Peter Cowan's team, and he's doing extremely well. He's a little bit out on his own there. has got to be said. He's 2.5 behind Lambert and about 4 in front of Piercy. Well, let's check out the rest of the field while we're at it. We cut to those other drivers. Because there are some good battles going on. We've got Chris Simpson for one of the other Club 100 teams in 15th place. That's Rich Jones just behind him, only a second off. And Russell Laidler and Ellis Stevens are having a good old battle, and you can always tell the Stevens car because it does your eyes in just looking at it. He's not going to make a move down the inside here, surely. Tom Stanley is very much in this battle, side by side. Stanley takes the position and then disappears from your screen. Connection problems, perhaps. But it's now Laidler, Stanley and Stevens, and they're scrapping over 18th place down there. Sutton came back to 30th, but is still having issues with this very tricky, tight circuit. And he's got recovering Antoniades and also Ken Bracey behind him there. Everybody.
His name was Fahim.
What did I say?
Recovering.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Terrible.
Getting desperate with the jokes here.
Oh, really?
This four-way battle at the front is still fairly stabilised. I mean, they're not doing anything too silly with each other, but get the impression with Simon Povey that he's just clinging on to the back of it, but not quite got the pace to do anything about it.
His lap times are right up there with these guys at the moment, but it seems to be on the merit of the draft. Might be doing him a disservice, I'm not sure, but certainly not looking like he wants to challenge. Whether he wants to challenge and doesn't, or whether he's unable to because he doesn't have the pace, that's a different matter. But we will see that, hopefully, towards the end of the race.
He just seems to lose a car length and a half going down the mountain. I think the three guys in front of him are... Well, I mean, he's on ridiculous pace as well, but the three guys in front of him are on ridiculous pace. So.
Here comes Rapstin once again. This is his favourite overtaking place. Mercer's looking down the inside as well. Mercer's not going to get there this time. Savidovic has got the inside. That's going to slow him up a little bit, and he's going to cut Mercer's nose off going into the final corner here. Well, that's
he's not averse to getting his elbows. He's not averse to getting his elbows out, though, Wodge, is he?
No, absolutely not. And it was ambitious from Mercer. He was a long way back. He was actually 2 positions back down the straight there. Little twitch from Mercer. Oh, I thought Povey got into the back of him there.
I think he did. There is a little bit of damage to Mark Mercer's rear wing, but that was so close to being...
Well, let's go back and have another look at that one.
Major accident.
This is the front. This is a view from the front of Simon Povey's car, and you can see, yeah, just a little bit of contact there on the front wing.
Paul Bird needs to get himself out of the way a little bit here, doesn't he?
Well, Rapstin coming into Hell Corner for the 9th time out of 11.
Good job, Paul. Yeah, he's done a really good job here. Good work. Nobody wants to be praised for being lapped. Oh, Simon Povey's chucked it into the wall at Griffin's.
Well, he's still going. And Paul Bird
looks like he's crabbing a bit to me. That looks like he's got some rear suspension damage.
Yeah, he's a lot slower. He is a lot slower. Maybe he'll try and ride this one out though with 2 laps left. Might be worth him staying in this one and just letting people through. Although on the mountain that's always a dangerous proposition. But let's go back and have another look at Povey. It's probably not far back enough, but he was going so well, wasn't he?
Yeah, but just maybe he was pushing a little harder than he wanted to.
Just get sideways, but the car corrects itself before he's ready, I think. And then rear contact with the wall. The front contact's not too bad, it's the rear that you've got to worry about because of that crabbing sensation, as you put it. Nothing to do with crustaceans, that's the sideways movement of the car when it should be going in a straight line.
Yeah, I mean, if you dink the left rear like that, then the left rear wheel will toe out and it'll be pointing in the wrong direction, so you'll effectively have the car trying to steer itself from the rear, is what we mean by that.
Just look at the gap Rapstin's built up now. He definitely seems like the fastest on race pace.
And he's just driving that thing like an absolute animal, isn't he?
An absolute animal, yeah.
The 4 guys behind him are still having a proper little scrap as well. They're catching up to the back of a limping Simon Povey at...
oh, Mercer's down the inside at the end of Conrad, so Mercer's going for this one. We saw the same last lap. Mercer runs a little bit wide. Savidovic trying to come back. Savidovic won't get there. That back marker got out of the way pretty sharpish. That was probably for the best with those guys too wide. And Mercer, if he can hold the car in a straight line this time around, will take 2nd position. But that was a tough fight. He had to work for that one.
Walsh
Yes.
knows no other way, does he?
No, absolutely. But
It's
it was
not the easiest. I say this with the greatest respect to him. He's not the easiest guy to get around at all.
and now George Lambert side by side with Marcus Hamilton. Hamilton's going to get that one, but Streatley's gone back past Hamilton into 5th place, so it's now Streatley, Hamilton, Lambert and Stuart Adcock. Those guys in the 4-way battle, although Stuart Adcock seems to be a long way behind these guys.
Yeah, we're on to the final lap here, and that George Streatley is going to be eyeing up the back of Simon Povey, trying to get a piece of him. Hamilton goes massively defensive into Griffins.
And he will hold that one. But at what cost?
I think Povey's going to do well to hold on to this year. He's
Well, I'm very surprised he still managed to hold on to the 4th place. He's got a second to play with, and that's not much when your car's damaged, and I thought he would be going a lot slower.
Yeah, Rabstin, meanwhile, has absolutely set off like a scolded cat at the front, hasn't he? It's like somebody set fire to his backside.
Maybe they have, we're not at liberty to know that information, but he's now 2.5 seconds to the good. In just, what was that, just a lap and a half? Oh, and...
Yeah.
Well, I thought I heard some barrier contact. We seem to be okay. And Mercer's got back past... Mercer is past Savidovic, I should say. Savidovic is going to have to do something. We've got one straight for him to make this move, basically. This... You know, if Mercer loses out on this one, not too worried, but his season-long rivalry with Savidovic, what we don't want to see is it come to a head right now and they both take each other out. That would be the end of the world, I'm sure.
That would be brilliant. Be great for the championship if you're Blake, wouldn't it?
Well, Savidovic...
I'm sure he's sat there on YouTube with his fingers crossed right now.
Savidovic is through. But
Yeah,
Mercer's not going to let this one
line
go.
him up. No, he's going to line him up, I think. No, not quite going to make it work.
No, that'll
One
be
more
it.
chance.
That'll be it now.
No,
Savidovic...
it's never it. Not with these guys, you can't say that. We've seen this too many times before. Mercer's trying to go round the outside. He's going to try the switch back, I think, yeah? Nope, he's just going to try and go all the way around the outside. Why not?
Well,
Great
Rapton
move.
takes it.
Mercer's going to get second.
Over the line,
That's a
second
fantastic
place.
move round the last corner.
Well, Mark Mercer's shown us how that's done. I never thought with a
Povey hangs on.
defensive... Yeah, Povey takes 4th.
Povey hangs on to 4th. That's a great job as well. What happened to Andrew Streatley there? He must have
George Streatley.
chucked it on the last lap. George Streatley, yep, that one.
Well, I'm
Great
not sure.
drive from Peter. Great drive from Peter Cowan as well.
So these drivers just coming over the line now. Tom Stanley is still out there on the track, and we saw him racing with Russell Layla and Ellis Stevens, and they're now separated by quite a long way. Stanley has it from Layla, who has it from Stevens. Alan Batterson just behind him, and just quite a separation has built up over this race. The top guys about 4 seconds a lap faster.
The award for biggest wreck of a looking car of the day is going to go to James Child, who's currently trying to limp home in 21st place.
Wow, just look at the front of that car. That is fantastic. Well done, James.
You'd have to call that a cut and shut, wouldn't you?
I'm not even sure how that's physically possible to drive that car. Yeah, I think.
I've seen worse being driven through Newport. I can tell you that.
I think it's been called for a mechanic pretty soon. The only place that car is going is the junkyard, and it's terrible. His engine's gone. He's lost his engine about 100 yards from the finish there. Someone else is over the grass. It's all gone wrong. James Child, he won't get there.
Yeah, that's Dan Hunt deciding that finishing is optional.
Poor old James Child. I kind of wanted him to finish. He's putting so much effort
Has he
into
blown
get
it up?
to the engine gave out
That's
on him.
not fair, is it?
Unfortunately, really not fair. Anyway, as we continue to giggle over James Child's situation there, the results are up on your screen. A win for Rapstin in round 10. I don't know why it says unknown track on the screen either. That's confusing me. It's not unknown. It was a win at Bathurst. Mark Mercer, second place.
Scott Malcolm, you're bringing the car home in 29th place. That's not a bad run from him in what looks like a quilt.
Yeah, the tartan livery there. Savidovic third, Povey fourth. I don't know how Povey held on, but he did. Hamilton got it just in the end from George Streatley, who dropped to 8th. Not quite sure why. George Lambert took 6th, and Adcock in 7th. Good result for Peter Cowan in 9th place for the Club 100.
Yep, cracking drive from Peter Cowan.
And Alan Piercy, who I tried to cut to before, but the front battle was just too exciting. Very solid drive for 10th position. And this is a point in the show where you say Mark Mercer has won the championship, and I say, not sure.
Mark Mercer's won the championship.
Yeah, not sure about that, but it's possible. There is a drop round as well, which makes the score calculations a little bit interesting. But going into this round, we know Townend didn't score, which gives Mercer a 75-point advantage with 1 drop round and 2 more rounds left. So, yeah, maybe you can do the sums at home.
You'll have to, because I'm crap at maths.
It was a tragic situation for Blake Townend. He missed the start of the race. He didn't manage to get to the grid in time and didn't really recover from that. Mercer, though, with the overtake of the day, surely.
Yeah, that's a fantastic move in the last corner there, and fully deserves that 2nd place, I think.
And he didn't win the race, but he won't be too disappointed with that. And we've seen some real pace from Rapston tonight. When he first came into the series last season, seemed to be extremely deadly but lacking reliability. This season just hasn't had the pace until now. Yeah,
definite. And whether it's just a case of the track suiting him or the weather conditions on the track or something, I'm not sure, but certainly a much improved result.
Well, I'm going to go see if we can grab Pete Cowan to have a quick word. 9th place finish today for you, Pete. You there? He is not available for comment, unfortunately, so we don't have the opportunity to talk to Blake either because he was not in the race tonight. Mark, Mr. Mercer I believe he doesn't own a microphone, believe it or not. Either that or he just said that to get out of talking to us guys.
These guys will go to any lengths, won't they? I think they seem for some reason they seem to value their dignity more than we do.
Yeah.
Cowards.
Absolutely. Well, it's their right, but let's try and grab a word with George Lambert instead. George, welcome to BSR TV. You there?
Hi, Chris.
What a race! Absolutely fantastic to watch, and you were engaged in a battle with your effective teammate, George Streetley, and also Marcus Hamilton and Stuart Adcock for quite a lot of that. But that looked intense.
Yeah, I think I was slower than those guys, but they were holding each other up, so I managed to catch them back up and get in the tow, but I wasn't fast enough to really make a move on them.
Now, we saw your group about 5 seconds behind the lead group for most of the race, and then Simon Povey had a little bit of an accident up in front, slowed him down a little bit. Did you think your group might have caught up with him?
Yeah, I think George Streetley was just going to pass him, and then got taken out into the last chicane.
Now, we didn't see what happened to Mr. Streetley there, but maybe you can fill us in.
Yeah, George, he got a good tow on him down the straights, and he was trying to overtake around the outside, and either he didn't leave enough room, or Simon Povey just ran a bit wide into him and nudged him off.
And how were you feeling before you came into this race? Because 48 cars on the grid, Bathurst, not the easiest circuit. You confident?
No, not really. I think the most laps I've done in a row without crashing was 3 before the race, so pretty happy to finish.
Well, you managed to string 11 together in some style there. Top 10 finish. Couldn't really ask for a lot more than that, I guess.
Nope.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic performance there. And sign of good things to come, I hope, for the GR teams in general.
Yeah, we haven't decided what we're doing next season. Some of us will be racing, but we're just trying to work out which 2 teams to do.
Well, excellent. And 2 more rounds left. Those are both going to be very challenging. But anything in particular looking forward to towards the end of the season?
Yeah, Sonoma. I haven't driven that layout before, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm going to throw that one over to Matt because I haven't actually commentated on a Sonoma race before, but you know a lot more about that one than I do, Matt.
I've not commentated on the race there either, but I have driven it a few times. It's one of those tracks that when you want to go and turn some laps and have a bit of fun with, that I quite like to go to. It's some good challenging blind corners on entry, different cambers and things as well, which can make it quite a challenge. It's a good fun track to drive. Certainly one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's a bit like Road Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean it's a different score, I suppose. When we go over to some of the American circuits, we know quite a lot about the British circuits. Brands Hatch, back of our hand, Silverstone, back of our hand, and then come across something like Sonoma, which I am pleased to see it on the calendar. But how do you think the drivers will feel about seeing that one, staring them down?
I think they'll be quite happy to have a new challenge. Really, we haven't driven this one for a while, so.
Yeah, well, with it matching the official series, gives people plenty of time to practice as well. So, looking forward to that one. George, congratulations, great result today. Hopefully you can put that into practice for the rest of the season as well.
Thanks, Chris.
It's George Lambert there for one of the GR teams. I get those two confused. Is it GR Legends or GR Masters?
Yes.
Yep, he sure is.
It's one of those.
Brilliant. 11 laps around Bathurst. That was round 10 of the iRacing Skip Barber Championship. 2 more rounds to come. They're Mondays at 8:40 PM UK time. I hope you can join us for one, hopefully both of those, and we will find out for you for next week if we can crown the champion, or is there more racing to come to decide it. But it looks like, to me, Mark Mercer is possibly, according to Matt, definitely, according to me, possibly.
I didn't say that.
Gonna
You
be
told me
this
to
season's
say
champion.
it.
Yeah, you said it. You said it. I just want someone to blame.
I'm not
Put it that
going to
way.
jump to the only defence of I only said it because you told me to. So
Well, that's no fun. You're no sport. Anyway, the Carrera Cup back in action from Silverstone National. That's this Wednesday from 8:50, and then the British Touring Car Championship, again 8:50, but that's Thursday this week. Rounding out the season for some of these championships is going to be extremely exciting. Recommend you watch as much as possible here on BSR TV. But thanks for joining us tonight, and we will see you next time.